For as long as humans have existed, one question has followed us beneath the stars. Where did it all begin? In caves, deserts, forests, and cities, people have gazed at the night sky and wondered how the universe came to be. Long before science, people created myths, symbolic stories that tried to explain what could not yet be measured. These early myths were not science, but they were humanity's first attempt to make sense of the cosmos. In the 20th century, historian Mircea Eliade, in his book The Sacred and the Profane 1957, explained how myths served as humanity's earliest cosmic maps, giving people meaning in a vast, mysterious universe. One of the earliest recorded attempts to explain the universe came from Mesopotamia, around 1100 BCE. The Babylonians wrote their creation story on clay tablets, known today as the Enuma Elish. In this myth, the universe began as a watery chaos. From this chaos, gods emerged, and through conflict, the world was shaped. The sky, the land, and the seas were said to have been formed from the body of a defeated primordial being. For the Babylonians, the cosmos was not empty space. It was a battlefield of divine powers. The Enuma Elish tablets were discovered in the 19th century during excavations at Nineveh, in modern-day Iraq, and they remain some of the oldest written records we have of humanity's attempt to explain the universe. In ancient India, philosophical texts known as the Vedas were composed between 1500 and 1200 BCE. Among them, a hymn called the Nasadiya Sukta, Rigveda, hymn 10.129, asked profound questions about creation. Whence this creation has arisen, perhaps it formed itself or perhaps it did not. The one who looks down on it, in the highest heaven, only he knows, or perhaps he does not know. This is one of the earliest records in human history where creation is treated not as a simple myth, but as a mystery even gods may not fully know. Another ancient Indian concept, the Hiranyagarbha, or cosmic egg, suggested that the universe hatched from a golden egg. These ideas reflected a cyclical understanding of time, where the cosmos is born, destroyed, and reborn endlessly. In ancient Greece, the universe was explained in two ways, through myth and through philosophy. Poet Hesiod, around 700 BCE, described in Theogony that the world began with chaos, followed by the birth of Earth, Gaia, and sky, Uranus. But by the 4th century BCE, philosophers sought logical explanations. Aristotle, in his work on the heavens 350 BCE, argued that the universe was eternal without beginning or end. To him, the heavens were perfect and unchanging, with Earth fixed at the center. This view of a static, eternal cosmos dominated Western thought for nearly 2,000 years. It was later preserved and expanded by scholars in Alexandria and throughout the Islamic Golden Age. For centuries, Aristotle's eternal universe was accepted as scientific truth. In the Abrahamic traditions, creation was seen as the will of a single God. In the book of Genesis, God spoke, "Let there be light," and the cosmos began. The Quran too speaks of the heavens and the earth once being a joined entity, then separated, a vision remarkably close to what modern science would later describe. By the Middle Ages, different cultures had preserved these cosmic ideas, but it wasn't until the scientific revolution that humanity began to truly measure the universe. The invention of the telescope by Galileo Galilei in 1609 revealed craters on the moon and moons orbiting Jupiter, proving the heavens were not perfect spheres. Copernicus, in his book on the revolutions of the heavenly spheres 1543, had already suggested that the Earth was not the center, but circled the Sun. Johannes Kepler, in Astronomia Nova 1609, showed that planets followed elliptical orbits, not perfect circles. And Sir Isaac Newton, in Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, 1687, provided the laws of motion and universal gravitation, finally giving science a mathematical language to describe the cosmos. The stage was now set for a new kind of explanation. No longer was the universe only myth or philosophy, it was becoming a question of physics. The ancient dream of explaining the origin of everything was now entering the scientific age. For more than 2 centuries after Isaac Newton, scientists believed they had unlocked the secrets of the cosmos. Newton's laws of motion and universal gravitation explained why planets orbit the sun, why apples fall to earth, and why the moon circles us. It was a triumph of human reason. Yet Newton's model imagined space as an invisible stage, absolute and unchanging, where objects moved like clockwork. But by the late 19th century, cracks appeared. New discoveries in electromagnetism and the puzzling nature of light suggested that Newton's universe was incomplete. In 1905, a young physicist working at a Swiss patent office, Albert Einstein, published a paper titled On the Electrodynamics of Moving Bodies. This was the special theory of relativity. In it, Einstein showed that time and space are not fixed, but relative, bending with speed and motion. A decade later, in 1915, he went further. His general theory of relativity redefined gravity itself, not as a mysterious force, but as the warping of spacetime by mass. The universe was no longer a static stage, it was a living fabric, curving and stretching. This radical shift would soon lead scientists to ask a question no one had dared before. If space could bend, could it also expand, or even begin?